Aloha, you're listening to the Rolling Vets podcast by veterans, for veterans, and civilians alike. I am Lucas Moss, your co-host, and I am flanked by my Marine veteran peers, Aaron Pata and Chris Ellis. We would like to extend an invitation to you, the listener, to journey inside of our realm to discover what it means to be a rolling vet.
Oh yeah.
So Aaron has an emergency, so we're just gonna be you and I today. No biggie. There's still two of us, so I'm not here like talking to myself. But what we were talking about off air, like last year, that was kind of like my year where I was like, we finally got out, and I was like, I no longer have to watch football games at like 6 a.m. or 2 a.m., like depending on where we're at. Like no longer really have to rely on like a fucking play-by-play on like the ESPN app or something
on your
like
phone
that.
and shit, and your the app and shit.
Yeah, fantasy football was just a fucking dumpster fire because like it was so hard to keep track of like the times and the games because like we were either somewhere doing something or
Or the
like
time
deployed.
difference.
Yeah, the time difference. It was just such a pain in the
I
ass.
remember waking up fucking in Japan at like 2 or 3 in the morning to watch the Steelers play the
On
Jaguars.
Monday, like that's a Monday
Yeah,
morning. Like we still had
yeah,
to like go to PT and
yeah.
shit and like go
Oh
to
yeah,
work and stuff that same
yeah.
day.
But
So
I
that
said,
shit.
"Fuck it, man. I wanted to watch football. Dude. I was pulling out this laptop I'm on right now. Fucking sitting in my
Yeah.
fucking bed with my headphones on, trying to not wake up my fucking roommate Cardona, and just fucking
Yeah.
watching the Steelers playing shit."
Yeah,
Yeah.
last year was the first year in which I got to watch like practically every single one of the Bucks games. So that was nice. And then like you
You just
said,
got
like where
back from a Bucks game. You just got back from a Bucks game, didn't you?
yeah, I went to the, I don't like to talk about it, but I went to the Washington football team. They played the Bucks here in Maryland. So I was like, fuck it, like why not get some tickets? My oldest brother travels with the team. So like I got to see him, which was awesome. That was like the pretty much the whole reason on why I went to the game was
Yeah.
not only did I get to see him like the night before, which was really fucking cool because like he stays at the same hotel with all the players and stuff.
Oh
So
shit.
yeah, so we pretty much do this every time he's nearby. Like if he's at a game nearby, whenever I lived in Philly, if he played the Eagles or like the Jets or whatever, like a team or the Giants that are like a team that's just like really close by, usually try to see him like that the day before, that night before, whenever they fly in and try to spend some time with them. But I mean, so last year when they came and they played that playoff game, the Washington football team for the first round of the playoffs, their COVID policy was still like locked down. Like they weren't allowed to like
Yeah.
leave their rooms or anything. So that kind of sucked that I had my brother like literally less than 30 minutes away from me, and wasn't able to see him. Or, I mean, and they didn't even have any fans at the game either. So I couldn't even go to the game, even if I wanted to.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was nice to have him come this time around. And I'm like standing there in the lobby, like, uh, with Carolyn, and he like comes down, like we're literally standing like 15 feet from like the center. Ryan Jensen is like standing right there, and I'm like, damn, this fucker's huge. Like, and then we're sitting at the hotel bar, and the offensive line coach sits down right next to him, and AQ Shipley sits down right next to him, and I'm like literally like 6 feet from AQ Shipley, and I'm like, oh wow, like this is fucking crazy.
Stop
um
to get autographs, bro. What are you
yeah,
doing?
I mean, I try not to be that guy. Like I mean,
Fuck it,
I'm
dude.
cool. I mean, it'd be one thing if like there wasn't like because they still kind of have like, I wouldn't say like a strict policy on like the COVID stuff.
Oh,
um
still. Oh, yeah, I guess.
yeah, so like they're technically allowed to hang out, I think, like in the hotel. They're not allowed to leave the hotel. So I don't want to be that guy that they don't know, like just going up to them being like,
Yeah.
even though I'm vaccinated. I had to get vaccinated for a job I worked over the summer, like at a YMCA camp. But like, I mean, I'm not gonna be flashing around my Vax card to everybody. Be like, hey, like, can I just take a picture with you? Like, I swear to God, like I'm vaccinated. Like that seems like what's going to be like going on now, like moving forward. Like,
Dude, that
yeah,
shit's
so
crazy.
it is crazy. So GameStop. So I work at GameStop, and they just fucking hit me with like, you need to show proof of vaccination, or you have to get tested every single week and bring a negative like test like every day to like basically like every week to work.
Yeah.
Because that whole like Biden mandate basically. So any company that has over 100 plus
Well,
employees
didn't they
has
get
to
blocked?
do
Didn't
it.
they get blocked by the courts?
No, so they were threatening the government shutdown. I haven't like seen too much about it, but
I'm
apparently they
pretty sure. I'm
reached.
pretty sure it got blocked.
I don't know because Carolyn, she just had a meeting today about that, about like for her job. That's they're going to be start doing that, but they're like on her company's like 85 employees. They're not at 100 yet, but when
Yeah,
they're fully staffed, they're like 100 plus. And they were saying that for like her, like that's what's going to be like moving forward. My school already does it. I can't show up on campus unless I show.
really.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Wow.
which kind of sucks now because I was taking all my classes online because they were the GI Bill. They were still giving you 100% like BAH to take classes online because of COVID. And now after December 22nd, 2021, I have to start showing up physically to classes or they're gonna fucking or they're not gonna pay me like full BAH.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then now like in order for me to show up to classes on campus, I have to show to school that I am vaccinated, or else I have to get tested weekly and bring in a negative test all the time. Like it's a big fucking pain in the ass. They're just bullying you into
It,
doing it.
isn't it kind of crazy that like, all right, obviously COVID like causes like deaths and shit, obviously in the older people and shit like that. But like, how many deaths a year are there from obesity?
Yeah. Yeah. And they're
But like,
not,
that's like, it's cool to die because you're fat. But if you're just like get COVID and shit and you're fat, then it's like, oh shit, man, like you should have been vaccinated. Now you should not have been eating at McDonald's fucking 3 times a day and shit.
I mean, that's the big thing. That's the big thing, man, is the fact that out of all the shit, like all the illnesses and diseases and viruses that have come out within the last, let's say 150 years. You have the swine flu, you have polio, you have all that shit. A lot of those, the Spanish flu, a lot of those like things, and I'm not speaking on, I'm not a fucking doctor. Let me just say that. But like,
You're not
I mean,
professionals.
I'm not, yeah, we're definitely not fucking professionals. And I'm not going to give any medical opinion. I'm not going to tell anyone if they should get vaccinated or not. Like, that's not my call. Like, you have the right to do whatever the fuck you want. Like, do I feel like that you shouldn't be bullied by your company to get one? Yeah, I definitely feel like, if you're gonna make me show proof of me being vaccinated by COVID, I mean, why don't you just fucking while you're at it, like make me show like my anthrax vax card,
Yeah.
or like all the thousands other fucking vaccinations I've had to get in my life. Like, why is this one the most important? And it all comes down to just the fact that it was so politicized, dude, like from
Yeah.
the
It's
jump.
just
Yeah,
so
they just,
political.
and that really comes down to it. And once you politicize something, you just throw all the fucking logic, dude, out the window. Just toss it all because
And now it's not even like I'm not even against like the vaccine. Like, I want my like grandparents to get it and shit. Like, I'm
yeah,
totally fine with that. But if like once you say like, oh, I'm not vaccinated, it's like, oh, you're an anti-vaxxer. You want people to
yeah,
die. You piece
yeah,
of shit. It's like, no, I had COVID like literally 3 weeks ago. I had COVID. I
yeah.
had a headache and didn't know it. Went to work and I was like, I have a fucking headache. And I was sitting home one night, fucking sitting around, watch TV, drinking and shit, and realized, oh, I don't fucking smell shit. That's weird. And I went to the cabinet, opened up my peanut butter and smelled it. And I
Wait,
was
you're
like,
telling me that alcohol didn't kill the virus?
oh man, it didn't do it. I need to drink more, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, the weird part about COVID for me was like the no taste or smell. That was trippy the first time, or the only time that I've had it.
I
Like,
can imagine, dude.
you can't smell a fucking thing or taste a fucking thing. I loved eating apples
That
because
sounds so
an
miserable.
apple, it was like so weird to eat when you couldn't taste it. It's like just
Yeah.
a ball of mush you're eating. It's fucking weird, dude.
So you really just focus on all the texture at that point.
Yeah, dude, you're just only texture. Yeah, it's fucking weird. And I went to fucking supermarket with a Fulton and got the hottest hot sauce I could find and fucking poured that shit in my fucking mouth, dude. And he was right there with me. I was like, nothing. And then like he
Damn.
put a drop on. He's like, yep, it's hot. I still had that shit. I tried it earlier, and that shit is pretty
Speaking of
fucking
which,
hot.
I can full circle back to football. One, I had to do like the Carolina Reaper the other day at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost the bet, but to go back to like like the Buccaneers, like fucking one of our safeties, Mike Edwards and Antonio Brown, got fucking suspended for fake vaccination cards.
I love it. It would be AB too out of everybody. It
Yeah,
would
out
be
of
him.
everyone, man. And like, I mean, the first story broke with like his chef, like his personal chef being like, yo, this dude owes me 10 grand and he's not paying me. Like, I'm just gonna fucking snitch on you like to the NFL, like saying that you were getting a fake vaccination card while I was still working for you. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's bullshit. Like we checked it out. And then sure as shit, like a week later, it's like, nah, like it was real. Like he faked the vaccination card. Um, I mean, and you have some other players like Carson Wentz, maybe JJ. I think JJ Watt also are very like against. They're very. I wouldn't say they're like anti-vax. I think Carson Wentz is like an
Oh,
anti-vaxer, but
there's easily Beasley on the Colts.
oh, him
Well, I
too.
mean, not the Colts, the Bills.
Yeah, it's him too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
he
like
because he released a statement that was like, "I don't want to be vaccinated. It's my personal choice,"
I think
and he
DeAndre
got a lot of
Hopkins too.
hate
If
for
I'm,
that.
I think DeAndre Hopkins too, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure. I just remember seeing the news article about Beasley.
Yeah,
It was a big fucking deal with him. And then Rogers too, obviously,
yeah,
like
Rogers, but Rogers was different. He
lied about it, right?
no, so actually, so he's allergic to like certain key ingredients that's in two of the vaccines. So I can't remember what the exact ingredients are, but it's in the Pfizer and the Moderna. It's not in the Johnson and Johnson. So, but his doctor recommended, because of the fact that he's allergic to these things, he's like, I recommend you actually don't get the vaccine. So he did an alternate treatment that wasn't exactly the vaccine, but it was supposed to kind of like replace the vaccine, but not like 100%.
Yeah.
It was supposed to make him like less vulnerable to it. Which I mean, he would still be like very susceptible to it, like compared to someone who is vaccinated. Um,
I seen that press conference he had, and he also said he didn't want to be vaccinated because the risk of infertility and shit like that.
yeah,
He said,
yeah. I mean, because
yeah,
so he's trying to have kids too. You know, I mean, he's in his 30s. I mean, the dude's
38, just turned 38.
yeah, the dude's trying to have kids. You know,
Yeah,
before it's too late, I guess. Yeah, so that was like a concern of his as well. But all in all, he said he would have gotten like the vaccine except for the fact that he was like allergic to certain ingredients in it.
yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, Pat McAfee, I was watching his fucking episode about like AB prior to AB actually getting caught, and he was like saying, he's like, yeah, for someone like me that had a fake ID growing up, you know, he's like, the first thing I thought of when I looked at this card was like, hey, somebody could fucking fake this in. And I'm thinking to myself, like, that was the same exact mindset that I had when they handed me my Vax card. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, who? I was like, I could literally like make this up
Yeah,
myself. Like I could
yeah,
sign this myself. Like who is going to know? And I mean, I felt the same way. And not that I hate to, I don't want to get too political, but like the same thing
let's
happened.
do it.
The same thing happened to me when I went and voted, dude. When I went and voted, in 2020, I showed up, dude. They didn't even ask for my fucking ID. They were just like, what's your name? And I gave my name, and they're like, okay, like go to your like booth. Dude, that was it, man. They didn't ask me for my fucking ID. They didn't ask for
Wow.
shit. And I'm thinking to myself, like, because I was like one of those guys, like, I don't want to be like a conspiracy theorist, like, you know, all these fucking like, mail-in ballots, like blah, blah.
Yeah,
And I'm like, there has to be like some sort of like thing in place where, it's not as easy as
yeah,
people think it is. But no, dude, I showed up. They didn't even fucking ask for my ID. They didn't ask for shit. They just pointed me towards a fucking booth, and I, filled it out, turned it in, and fucking left. And I'm like, that was insane.
yeah.
Absolutely insane. Didn't ask me to confirm my address or anything. I was like, now that seems a little bit more plausible.
Well,
It seems that this fraud thing seems very
dude,
plausible.
here in Detroit, they fucking boarded up the windows where they're counting the ballots
Yeah.
at, so
I
nobody
mean,
can look inside.
but I can see both sides with that too, because like once you start boarding up the windows, I mean, think about, you'll probably remember. I mean, we're older, but not like we're not too old. But I remember fucking Bush and Gore. I remember the recount, bro. Like, it's a vivid memory in my
Was it
brain.
like 2004 or what
Yeah,
was
I think
that?
it was. I believe it was 2000. Yeah, it had to be 2004. I think no, 2004 was.
No, it gotta
Um,
be.
that was Kerry Bush, so it was
Let's
2000. It was the year
let's Google
2000.
it. You don't remember that shit? Then we were fucking like 4 years old.
Yeah, but dude, I just remember. I think because or that one might have been 2000. I'm pretty sure that was 2000.
2000. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So, but I know, dude. I remember how big of a deal this recount thing was,
yeah.
and and like, dude, the crowds outside of these places where they're counting fucking ballots. fucking massive, dude. There's a shit ton of people that show up just to watch people count shit. Like who's gonna be the count police there? You know, like you're like
Well,
you're peeking through the fucking
it wasn't
window.
that um they were boarding up because of the people. It was they boarded up, and then there was like video. Like, I'm not conspiracy theorist on this. I'm just telling what I seen the video show, and they bring in like suitcases or boxes of like ballots. They pull them out, and they're like mail-in ballots, and like perfectly like crisp, like not a fucking bend in them and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like pull them like they're like already in slots, you know. And people are like, if that was a mail-in ballot, they wouldn't be hundreds of them, you know, perfectly like no dent in the paper, stuff like that. They pull them out all perfect and
Yeah,
shit.
I think it's a fucking
That was
stretch though.
one of the conspiracy theories that
Yeah, I think
I
that
seen.
I think that one's a fucking stretch. I definitely believe that there's got to be some fraud. If anyone experienced anything that I experienced when I went to go vote, like you have to think to yourself, like, okay, like I could see
Yeah,
there could be there could be some fraud going on here. But at the same time, like the level of fraud has to be so astronomical in order
do you
for it to
think Biden
swing
won?
in order to swing, dude. I think it's so crazy. Do I think he won? At the end of the day, I have to accept it either way. Like
Yeah,
so
you have to.
I
I mean, you
yeah,
don't have a
so
choice
I don't
now.
really care if he won for
But
real or
dude, he's
not.
been okay, regardless if he won or not, dude, he's fucking destroying this fucking country, bro.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan,
Like
but
Trump, obviously he did some dumb shit, but like Biden is just like raw dick in the United States right now.
I think there is a authority problem going on right now. I think he is the POTUS, and that is the most obviously the most powerful position you can have in this country. And I honestly wholeheartedly believe that he's slipping mentally.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm not someone that's gonna be like, oh, he's fucking got dementia or Alzheimer or whatever. Like it's very obvious. It's very obvious that he has some sort of cognitive like decline. So I feel like in this particular case, and this might be me putting on the tinfoil hat, is like that Kamala Harris is making a lot of these decisions in the name of like Biden, basically, which is why we haven't seen a whole lot of her. And it also goes into the fact that her, approval ratings absolutely plummet every time she does something publicly, anyways.
Yeah.
But I feel like that she's kind of had to take on a lot of the load off of Biden, and I think that's a very hard position to be put in, especially for her.
I don't think it's her. I feel like it's
I
Pelosi.
don't feel like it's just her. I feel like I feel like there's a bunch of people that are kind of just being like, hey, like we're gonna make your day a little bit easier, Joe. Like let
Oh
us
yeah.
handle these things. And I think it's just a big clusterfuck, which is why
I think it's
I think it's an
mainly
authority
Pelosi
problem, because
because
I think there's a lot of chiefs
oh yeah, no, there is.
and
But
not
I
enough
think
Indians.
the main is fucking Pelosi because he's had multiple like uh press interviews where you see the camera rolling in the background, you know, and it's him talking. He goes, "Do you want me to answer any questions, Nance?" And like talking to
Yeah.
her and stuff like that.
Well,
And she's
not only
always
that,
looking, telling
but
him what to do.
he'll say like straight up, he'll say like, yeah, they won't let me answer that or some shit like
Yeah,
that. He'll say they, and like, okay, who the fuck is they? Is it
yeah,
aliens?
dude.
Like, who is it? Like,
The president should not be saying people would not let him fucking answer questions. That's not
well,
that shouldn't be a thing.
I mean, there are
Not
very
like
there.
not general questions to the public though. Like he doesn't answer anything, dude.
Yeah, I mean that's where we're kind of like in this scenario in which, yes, okay, like Trump did not live up to the standard that we have for like morally for presidents. So I mean, he's a flawed man, but everyone that
Yeah,
has
everyone
been in
is.
office is flawed in some shape, way, or form. He's just very outright about it and in your face about it, which is why people love him and people hate him at the same time. But so I understand like that was bad. It kind of rubbed people the wrong way to have him in office, and not only to have him in office, but to have him be like relatively successful in office too, like to have like
It's
the
highly
economy, but
successful, I
yeah, to
think.
have like
Yeah.
the economy back on track and all that stuff. I mean, I'm not gonna be like I'm not tooting his horn here because like, I'm not like 100% like a Trump supporter or anything, but um so I think that kind of rubbed people the wrong way where they're like, finally, like, let's just get fucking payback. Like, let's get payback and make sure this fucker doesn't get elected again. Because I don't think anyone took him seriously. I don't think anyone took him seriously as like someone who could win in 2016. I
Oh
think,
yeah, it was. I think it was the American people who has kind of like a fuck you
yeah,
to like the
yeah.
government. Yeah.
So when he won, everyone was like, "Oh fuck!" Like that dude actually won. Like let's make sure it doesn't happen again. Um, and he rubbed a lot of wrong. He rubbed the wrong a lot of Jesus Christ. He rubbed a lot of people the wrong way along the way. Jesus, that was like a mouthful, huh? And and so people, that people have long-term memories now. The
Hey,
internet and
hey.
everything makes people have a long-term memory now. Like shit, you can't just say
Oh,
shit and like forget about it,
hey.
and people just
No,
forget about it.
no. That's I don't know because fucking Biden could say shit from the past. And nobody
Oh
says a
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
thing about it.
yeah. So, but that's just
He
the
said
media
some
thing.
racist ass shit.
Yeah,
But
that's the
well,
media shit.
off of this shit for a second. How fucking funny was it the night that fucking Trump got elected in
Oh
29
my
Palms?
god.
That
Yeah.
shit was hilarious. He
It
had like
was it
people hanging
was
off balconies.
yeah. Because everyone's like, we're gonna get a pay raise, basically.
Then everybody's like, not fucking Hillary.
Yep. I had actually we had you remember Wellenzone?
Who?
Wellenzone?
I'm
I
not
think I'm saying
sure.
his name correctly. He actually was like, he's like, dude, I voted for Hillary. Like, he's like, fuck Trump. All this shit, like back in 20. I was like, dude, you're probably the only person on this base that voted for Hillary. But to kind of circle back, like, so when it came time to vote again, they're like, fuck it. There's not really. I felt I would have voted for Tulsi Gabbard if Tulsi Gabbard would have, if she would have won. What is it? It gets the primary and then the general, right? Elections.
Yeah.
So if she would have won the primary, I would have probably voted for Tulsi 100%. But they had fucking Biden, dude, who really didn't debate anyone. He just kind of sat in the background, and when it got quiet, he like spoke out and said some general ass shit, and people clapped. And I was like, this dude didn't even like answer the question. Like,
You
everyone
could
else
just
is
point at the
arguing.
camera and he would just like say some shit, and then
He's
they'd be
like,
like,
I want to do great for the American people. And everyone's like, oh, fuck, this dude's awesome. I'm like, this dude's not really contributing anything to this conversation here. Not even answering the questions.
I don't
But
know how he picked Harris as his running partner.
after she called him a rapist, basically.
Yeah,
So
dude.
that's what I'm saying is like, so they were able to gain so much momentum and win, right?
Yeah.
Win because people had it became personal, like at that point to not vote for Trump.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. So but at what cost? At what cost? You had your VP who literally accused your president well, she didn't like outright accuse him like personally. She was just like, I believe the women that are accusing him.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you have that kind of relationship already between them. So that was like their winning ticket. They didn't really have any other candidate. All their good candidates that they had, they totally decide to turn their backs on before the primary. And now you're stuck in a situation in which like, okay, you guys won the presidency, right? And you guys, as in like the Dems, so that the Democrats won the presidency. And so what? Like, okay, you basically won it just to win it at this point. And like, no one's gonna get reelected. No one in this fucking office is gonna get reelected.
Right there, that's what I'm saying. So that's the thing that it did for the Republican Party. If you look like how many like House seats have flipped, like since Biden's taken office, it's how many like Democratic people have just resigned, how many seats just resigned. They're not even gonna run a campaign against DeSantis in Florida. They said it's gonna be a waste of money.
No way, no
like,
fucking way.
No. So like I think that I don't think Trump's gonna run again in 24.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be DeSantis.
I think him as his VP. I think it's
with him as VP.
Yeah, I think it's Trump DeSantis for sure.
I think that would win still because like Trump. All right, so here's my opinion on Trump. Obviously, I support Trump, but like he is not a people person. He's not a public speaker. All right, he's not meant to fucking be there and be good for your feelings. He's a billionaire businessman who literally built a fucking empire, and nobody can deny the fact that he took over his country and the economy was fucking booming.
Yeah,
everything was going great. The only thing he was doing bad was just fucking the way he talked and shit. Like and piss people
Yeah,
off. But like
which
as far as
which
the bills
is
he
which
implemented and shit.
unfortunately is part of the job, dude. You can't just be
Oh
really good
yeah, oh
at
yeah, for sure. Oh
policy. You
yeah.
can't just be really good at policy and just you suck with the customer service aspect of it. You know what I'm
Look at
saying?
Obama. Obama
Yeah,
was a fucking amazing public speaker.
yeah,
Shit president, shit
yeah.
policies.
So it's something like, you can't have it all. One, and then with regarding Trump, that was literally like that's just probably as far on the spectrum as you can go, like
Yeah.
considering. And that brings me back to my point is like, so at what cost? Like at what cost? So you got those people in office. You're not really doing anything with them in office because it almost feels like that every election cycle within the last, I want to say 12 years, it almost feels like that the Democrats are playing the short game and not really looking long term, whereas the Republicans have been playing the long game the entire time. Like they're like, okay, like we'll play the long game. If we know for a fact we're not going to probably win, the general election and get a Republican president in the House, we're going to start flipping the motherfucking seats. And that's what they do.
Yeah.
You'll see like a huge surge out of nowhere. They focus a lot of their effort and time into doing that. Whereas the Dems almost seems like they're always trying to put out some fucking dumpster fire that they started. And it gets really frustrating because, obviously I want like both sides to fucking work out. Like I want to be an American that can, wake up in the morning and be like, I don't really care like who, like what party this person is in the office. I just know that they're generally trying to do a good
But
fucking job.
how radicals has one side gotten within the
Both.
past?
I would say both sides.
Well, yeah, I would say both in a sense, but like you don't see Republicans going down and burning down cities and fucking shit like that.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, but like then, I mean, they
bring it
stormed DC, bro. Like
DC. Yeah,
they
but
stormed fucking DC. Like you can say that.
yeah, but if you went to the videos at the end of it, there were fucking people picking up trash and shit, like and
Yeah,
cleaning
yeah.
up after themselves. Like obviously there was a few jackasses. You're gonna have that everywhere you fucking
But
go.
I think it's the same thing with the left side. I think a lot of those like scenarios in which you're referring to, like a lot of those situations in which like the riots were happening and because of the protests and stuff like that, like that you can argue also that is the like those are the bad apples of those bunch, which I
Yeah,
wholeheartedly
but
agree because I know personally a lot of people, who really took like I guess like they felt the effect of like the whole Black Lives Matter things like personally because they are African American or they're just what you call an ally. Like so I know a lot of people personally that they take that cause like to their heart where they truly believe that it is a problem of like unarmed African Americans getting killed by the police. Like they understand that it's a problem. And those are the people that want to go and have these protests and like do it peacefully, you
yeah.
know. And a lot of them don't have.
Oh,
A lot
I
of them
don't give
don't
a
have
fuck about
hate.
peaceful protests. I'm talking about the
Well,
people
that's what
who
I'm saying
flip
is like,
cars
but then
and
you have
all the looting
people.
going on and
Well,
shit.
that's when you have people who abuse that message, who take advantage of those other people who actually genuinely give a shit, and you have the ones that are just trying to capitalize off of it, and they're the ones going out and fucking looting and like making the whole like general movement as a whole
I'm
look
not
like
saying
shit.
that there's not a general better message. I'm saying which side is more radical.
Well, I'm saying
What
that
if
I
what
would say
side
like
doesn't
they're
get their way?
equal.
Are they gonna riot and burn and fucking shit like that?
I mean, you can't
Like
just say like, but I feel like you can't chalk it up as just the like, okay, like the Democrats will fucking riot if not, because there's no politician out there that's basically telling these people like, hey, like go fucking riot if we lose or whatever. I think,
oh, dude, yeah,
I mean, there's that one. What the fuck is her name? The one that wears the stupid hats all the time.
there was that one lady who said like no
Was it
Pelosi said there should
Maxine
be people
Waters? Is
mad
that
in
her
the
name?
street. Yeah, she said the one about push if you see your Trump supporters like get in their face and tell them they're not welcome and shit like that.
Well, yeah. I mean,
And she's still in office,
but you
but
still have some idiots, right? And but like that's the thing. Maxine, I think her last name's Waters. I'm not
yeah, it's
entirely
like
sure,
Waters or something, whatever.
but whatever the fuck or Walters, who knows? I'm not gonna fact check myself right now, but like that's the thing is like she represents a very very small fraction of like that party. Like when I told you when I would have voted for Tulsi Gabbard, I wholeheartedly would have voted for Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard, one, is a veteran. Two, she's from Hawaii,
Oh
and if
yeah,
you
I liked her.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like all these other, amazing facts about her and her career, and how she was she came out like anti-gay marriage back when gay marriage was a huge thing,
Hmm.
um like a huge social dilemma basically. um and she came out against it, and years later she came out in support of it, and then people were like, oh, you just fucking flip-flopped. And then she came out, was like, I know, like my ideas are allowed to change as I
Yeah.
get older. Like I'm allowed to, grow as a person and be more accepting about a lot of these things. And for a politician that just doesn't blatantly just try to like swat the flies and be like, oh, that never happened or whatever, like, so like shit like Hillary does, shit like Biden does, where they, instead of owning up to a
They
lot of
just
the
say it
things that
didn't
they
happen.
fucking said, like say it didn't happen, when you could literally show a video clip of it, of them saying it after they deny it. It's like, own up to that. If you own
Yeah.
up to it as a person, and you admit that you were potentially wrong about something, or that you feel differently about something, like that shows a lot about the character in someone as well. So like that's why I was a big Tulsi Gabbard fan. I'm a huge Ted Cruz fan.
Yeah, I Ted Cruz. But there's a difference between like a Tulsi Gabbard and like Bernie Sanders, like that. There's
Oh
like,
yeah.
because like she's like an old school Democrat, and these like new school Democrats, I feel like they're only like, is they're trying to please the public and like give them what they want, say what they want, get their support. Then they get in office.
Yeah,
We
and
see what's happening now.
it's whoever helped me along the way, how can I help them out, kind of thing.
Yeah,
That's just what it becomes. And that's just the downside of, like, that's basically like just the worst case scenario of American politics, is all of that, like all like who you can have in office, and then when you have them in office, it's like now it's up to them to like honor these agreements, honor these promises that they made along the way. And I think a great movie that represents that is Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Have you ever seen that one?
I have not seen that.
Old black and white movie. But I'm trying to remember the actors. Like he's a very famous actor. But he plays like this dude who was from a small town, gets elected to represent like his district in Congress, and he leads like the Boy Scouts and all this shit, kind of like this like really, goody two shoes kind of guy, like stand up guy.
Yeah,
um, and gets elected to office, goes and finds out how corrupt the political machine really is, and just really just like how it doesn't matter who you are, how like that environment can just really chew you up and like spit you out, like it
yeah,
did Tulsi Gabbard. Like Tulsi Gabbard's not even in office anymore, but like, or how you could just have to just be a part of it, like just be a part of the problem. And that
yeah,
movie, I think, represents it like very, very well, and no pun intended, in a very black and white kind of like theme, like plot line. And yeah, I mean, it's a great film, and it represents like how, the swamp, legitimately the
the
swamp, and
swamp.
the people who enable the swamp, like the big businesses that are going in there and like spending, thousands and hundreds and thousands of dollars
Yeah,
on, like fundraising and shit like that, just so somebody somewhere can push some kind of policy to make them more profitable. And it's just a big fucking shit show, and we lost our way. We definitely lost our way a while ago. And and I definitely, back in 2016, I would say I was like very, very ignorant and very like, I guess, like pro Trump. Let's like just vote red basically. And as I got older, you know since then, because that's what, like 5 years from now, almost like 6 years from now, like, and I'm mature and I've got to meet a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds and all that stuff, like the military and all that shit. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm definitely like a lot more receptive than I used to be. Like, and the fact that I don't use social media a whole lot anymore either. Because if you have you seen the Social Dilemma, the Netflix documentary?
I I started it and I just couldn't get into it, so
Oh, dude, it's so
I gotta
good, bro.
watch it.
Yeah, you have to watch it all the way through, because the
Am I
biggest,
delete all my shit for that or what?
yeah, I mean, I did. I deleted my Instagram like right after it, and that was like one of the last social medias, and I deleted
Really?
Snapchat. Yeah. So I deleted the only thing I have right now is besides like LinkedIn and
Fantasy.
Facebook. Yeah, and then I guess if you count fucking fantasy football, but basically Facebook and LinkedIn are like the only two that I have now. LinkedIn because it's self-explanatory, it's a professional thing, and then Facebook. The only reason I keep my Facebook is because of all the guys and like men and women that I served with that I want to keep in touch with that I can't just text them all the time, text and call all the time. So it's just easier to like reach out that way.
I just want to say fuck you for beating me in fantasy this week.
Oh yeah.
But I do want to say too, if Henderson got sat for some reason, they took him out last second. If I
Yeah.
would have started fucking Jacobs, I would have whooped your ass. Did you see that?
I don't know. It was close.
God, so mad, dude.
You should look at. You should have seen all the points I left on the bench too, boy. I left a bunch of points on the
Did
bench.
you?
Yeah,
Oh
Devontae
yeah.
Freeman, I left on the bench. I left, I think in that specific game too. I think I left T
Yeah.
Higgins on the bench or some other receiver.
Nah.
But yeah, to go back to what I'm saying, dude, is like the main thing to take away from that documentary is the fact that there's an algorithm that's making you see all the shit that you want to react to. Like
Oh,
all the
definitely.
so all the shit that's gonna get that gets your blood boiling. So all the fucking like the Trump supporters, they're gonna see like this like fact like infactual stuff about Democrats and then vice versa. So and then they're getting fed all this misinformation and they're reacting to it, which is keeping them on the app longer, which is the whole point. So they can shove product down your fucking throat. And so it's so crazy that this is allowed because there's no checks and balances about this whatsoever. There's no regulations that that hold these companies accountable for the data that they're fucking collecting, and so they're literally forcing shit in your face that you want to react negatively to every single day, and then are throwing up their hands being like, I don't know why there's a problem. I don't know why America's so divided. It's like, yeah, you do, because you created a fucking algorithm that's keeping us divided. And once I got off basically like Facebook for the most part for like leisurely, it's like, man, like my lifestyle is like 100% like more healthy after that. Like I'm not really reacting so negatively towards like information or misinformation because I'm just like, okay, like I know it's bullshit. I know it's not bullshit because I'm actually like doing my own research instead of just like
Yeah.
relying what's being like told to me on Facebook.
I man, fuck, I need to delete all my apps now.
Dude, I'm telling
I don't know,
you,
man. It's like I get bored at night, like just chilling in bed. I just pull out Facebook and start fucking scrolling. That
read,
makes sense.
bro. Fucking read.
Oh, I did 75 hard
Yeah.
fucking a few months ago, and I had to read 10 pages every night. And at first, it was like I'd read 10 pages every night, and it'd be like, "Fuck, I hate doing this shit. I want to get it
Mm.
over with." And then eventually, like at the point where I was reading like 20, 30 pages a night, fucking doing fucking good and shit, buying books in advance and stuff to like
Okay.
have like 4 or 5 books. And yeah, so I read a few books. Fucking Sheehan told me to read what was it called? All right.
You already forgot it? Or do you have it?
Can't Hurt Me. David
Okay.
Goggins. This is the best fucking book, dude, when it comes to like wanting to like become mentally tough and like get your ass out, dude. Because during 75 hard, you have to work out twice a day, eat a structured diet,
Mm.
and drink a gallon of water. One workout has to be outside. And like this book like put me in a mindset where I was only eating like 1,600 calories a day. I was working out twice a day, like running outside in the morning or doing jump rope or some shit like that, or doing elliptical. I have an elliptical here too. Then weightlifting in the afternoon. I
Mm.
lost like 32 pounds, I think, in 75 days.
Damn.
Yeah, man. That was when I was posting the Snapchats. I was actually looking
Yeah.
decent.
Yeah,
Nah,
dude. Yeah. I mean, that's
yeah,
fucking great, man.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
dude.
so and we can kind of get into this. Like reading is something that I mean I've always done, and having a roommate like Evan,
Yeah,
definitely is like a really positive influence.
super
We were
smart
all,
dude.
yeah, super smart dude. We were always going to bookstores and stuff like that. So, and then I always took books with me to in the field, whether it was like my iPad where I had the Kindle app and I just downloaded a shit ton of fucking books, or fucking I like lugged around like 3 or 4 like books in my pack. And and I would just like crush them on Radio Watch or whatever I had to do, like whatever downtime. But like it carrying that kind of like those kind of habits like over to like the civilian life, like dude, has helped me like tremendously. I just feel like I have like this thirst for knowledge that I've
Mm,
never really had before. And a lot of it has to do with like being in school again because I was like totally scared, dude. I was like fucking
yeah.
frightened when I was like, man, I got to go back to school, bro. Like I always hated school. I always did decent, but I always hated it, man. I just if I didn't have to fucking like if you gave me an option not to do something, there was you didn't count don't count on me. Don't count me because I was not gonna fucking do it. Like extra credit, forget about it. Like, there was a class I had to take statistics my senior year of high school, but I didn't need it to graduate. They just needed to put me in a math class for some reason. They're just like, hey, we just need to fill the spot, and but you don't need this class to graduate. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing with my time here? I literally sat down and like the teacher was like going through the roll call, and I pulled him aside and I was like, hey, like if you don't bother me, I'm not gonna bother you. Like just leave me alone. I'm just gonna sit in the back of the class like on my phone, like watching movies or whatever. Like I'm telling you right now, like man to man, like I'm not gonna be doing shit in your class. And so he would not, dude. He was like, all right, fuck it, and left me in the back of the class. And he would come by, and every time we had to take a test, he'd put a test in front of me, and I'm like, I can't, I'm not doing this. And he's like, I just need you to put your name on it, and I could just throw it in as like a 0. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And so I just took L's, dude, all fucking semester, like just took L's. And it was so funny because he couldn't like actually give me like an actual 0 in the class. Like the bottom they could give me was like a 50. So I actually got 50, and I guess the 50 was just for showing up every day.
So I got a funny story about that shit. I had a math teacher in fucking high school
Yeah.
that I fucking hated with a passion. His name was Mr. Bentley. Fuck him
Okay,
if
we're
he
name
hears
dropping.
this.
Yeah, fuck
Fuck him.
Mr.
No, dude.
Bentley.
Fuck that dude. No, fuck him. So he drove a Mazda
Fucking
3.
Pogue.
He drove a Mazda 3. All right. It was blue. And he said some shit to me that was like very inappropriate to say to a high school kid, like
Yeah.
in class with 30 people. And I pretty much told him to go fuck himself. And I then after that, I started writing blueberry on the top of every one of my fucking tests and shit. And like I ended up failing math because I just like stopped doing his work and shit after that. I
Yeah.
was like, fuck you, I'm done. But yeah, every test we put blueberry on it. He's a blueberry bitch. And I think and I tweeted that, and the motherfucker used to look at my Twitter in high school. He would go to my Twitter and shit and be like, Mr. Ellis, you should watch your tweets.
Oh my
Fuck you,
god.
dude. Yeah, so
Straight
fuck
talk
him.
shit on him. Don't give a fuck. Fuck you, Mr. Bentley. Fucking blueberry pogue.
Fucking blueberry poke.
Oh my
God, fuck
god,
that
dude.
guy. All right.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was fucking scared to go to school, dude, because I was like, man, I don't know any of this shit anymore. And how am I just gonna go to school? Like, how am I gonna go to school and just pick this up like right away? Like, I was like, I thought there was gonna be a huge learning curve. But once I started, and I did it kind of smart, so I knocked out all the classes that I knew I didn't want to take. I was like,
Yeah.
I will take a semester or two of misery as long as I can coast on the other ones. So all the shitty requirement like gen ed classes I had to take, whether it was like a lab, so I took astronomy lab.
Astronomy?
Yeah, I had to take I
That
had
was
to take
required?
statistics. So surprisingly, it came back full. Well, so I had to take a physical science and a science lab. So there's only like a handful of classes in which you can take that's a lab because
Yeah.
so it's like chemistry, biology, and I think astronomy are like the only 3. And I was like, I don't want to take bio or chem. Fuck that. I'll take
Yeah.
astronomy. How hard could it be? And surprisingly, it was fucking hard, bro. like it was all the like the memorizing like all the like terminology and stuff was really easy. It was like the math. I had no idea there was so much fucking math involved and like calculating the distance, calculating like the rotations, like how quickly the planets are rotating, like how quickly the planets like revolve around the sun and all that shit, dude. So much math involved. And like calculating like which um what are they called? Constellations are going to be in the sky at what time of like the night and stuff, dude. It was so much math. And luckily, like I fucking passed the class, but I managed to knock out all the shitty ones right away, like English 101, English 102, fucking statistics, the astronomy class. I'm trying to think of like other shitty ones I took, and I'm just trying to forget. I was just like get those out of the way, like my first
Yeah.
semester, pretty much. And then after that, dude, I fell in love with school, bro. I fucking was like, man, I thoroughly enjoy like one just rolling out of bed and getting online and being in class, which is like
That
a
that
huge
must be
thing.
nice.
Now it's gonna
Yeah.
suck because next semester is like which is pretty much it's gonna be my fourth semester of college, and it'll be my first one actually showing up in person to classes.
It'd be cold as fuck every morning when you got to get up and
Yeah,
go.
but luckily I'm only 5 minutes
Gonna
away from the
suck.
campus, so
I got
that's
snow here now, dude.
oh, it snowed already.
Yeah, I got like probably 2 inches out on the ground right now.
Damn,
Fucking
that's
sucks,
dope, dude. It
man.
hasn't snowed. It
Nah,
we
man, I
get
hate
we get
snow.
like January, February kind of, and even March type snow. We never really have it like in December in Maryland.
It's already snowed once here, but it didn't stick that much.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
when I was in last year, when I was trying to think what time, I think it was September or October. One of my buddies from boot camp died, and I drove out there. I hit you up when I was out there, but we were like far as fuck, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when I saw Denny again. Went there for a funeral, for his funeral. And I was driving back, from Ohio to Maryland through Pennsylvania. And dude, it just started snowing so fucking hard, like on my ride back. And I wasn't like gunning it. It was like the speed limit was like 55. I think I was going like 65 or something. And like there was fog, snow, so like
That's the best right there.
yeah, and I'm like, so I'm cruising, bro. I'm like, oh, I'm about to be home fast as fuck. Hell no, dude. Trooper like fucking saw me and like turned around. He was like in the process of turning around, and I just like rolled right past him. And as soon as I rolled right past him, I was like, oh, this dude's coming after my ass. Yeah, came fucking pulled my ass over, gave me a speeding ticket. I
Oh,
fucked up because I had my boys little, you get little the pamphlets whenever you go to funerals and shit.
yeah.
I had it. He was underneath my bag, and like when I grabbed my wallet and stuff, I forgot to like put it on top of my bag so you could see that and maybe like cut me some fucking slack, just be like, oh, like, because
Yeah.
my buddy's the photo that was on that thing, he was like he's in his camis. So I was like, oh, I got this in the fucking bag. Like, but like I forgot, and then he comes back to give me back my ID and to give me the fucking ticket basically, and I had it sitting there, and that's when he acknowledged it and was like, oh, like you were like, were you traveling because of a funeral? And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, this dude I served with, like he passed away, and all this shit. And then he was like, oh man, like I'm so sorry, like blah blah. And I was like, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, this dude totally would have let me off if I would have just fucking, if he would have seen it like to begin with. But yeah, it
Hey,
didn't
Dan, can
work
you
out.
rip that up for me, bro?
Yeah, that didn't fucking work out. So I mean, I got out of a DUI though, doing that.
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the last time I ever drank. Yeah.
You haven't drank since then?
Nah, dude, I've been sober ever since, bro.
Wow. Dude, ever since I got out, like I drank heavily when I first got out for probably the first, I don't know, month or two, and
Yeah.
then switched over to the Mary Jane, dude, and I don't drink anymore. And
Yeah.
whenever I drank, like I hated it, bro. It's like I got plastered, I'd get emotional, dude. I
Yeah,
hate that
dude, that's
shit.
why I stopped, bro.
Yeah.
That is
But
that
like,
is 100% why I stopped, is because it was getting me in trouble that way.
yeah.
Like it was fucking like my life up at
Yeah.
that point. Because I mean, I didn't drink. I was the same way, bro. Like, I mean, you and I, dude, and when we drank, Jesus Christ. Like, I mean, I'm not comparing myself to a lot of people, but like I'm just saying a lot of people could not hang with you or I. So
Yeah, we used the $400 bar tabs.
yeah, that's like, and as being generous, like, because we used to just like it was the quantity too. Like it was
Like
the
just
quantity.
shots. Shots.
It was shots, it was beers, it was anything that was relatively had any alcohol content, and it was
A fifth of
being,
Jaeger in one
yeah, it was
night.
being, yeah, it was being ingested and at an incredibly fast pace constantly. And not only that, but those scenarios happened very often where it was like I was drinking every day. But
Yeah.
when I got out and I could smoke weed again, fucking hit that heavy as hell, dude. Like I was like, I dove headfirst and back in that shit, dude. And I stopped drinking a lot because I stopped drinking as frequently. But when I would drink as if I was, still in the Marines. And so instead of getting absolutely like just buzzed and being okay, like I was 90% of the time, now I'm getting like sloshed. And now I'm having to deal with a lot of the normal demons that come with getting out of the Marines.
Yeah.
Demons that I had, that I was suppressing with alcohol before the Marines. And a lot of the stuff that, I experienced in like the last couple months, with Robert passing and everything and finding him, that's like a lot of that stuff is all pent up that I suppressed with alcohol. And then as soon as I stopped and would drink again, like and like basically binge drink, I couldn't keep myself together, bro. I just couldn't.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I had the same experience. Like when I first time I smoked, I got out. My best friend Landon and Hutch picked me up from the airport.
Mm.
As soon as I got in that fucking driver's seat, they handed me a pen, and I was like, fucking did a huge fucking rip. And I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I kept drinking and shit, and then quit for a while. Quit for a year actually, pretty much, and up until my birthday last year, and I drank on my birthday, and like I got blackout drunk, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I don't remember half the night, and that's the first time it's ever happened to me. I always thought people said they black out, they can still remember it, but I have no recollection of like 6 hours of being mobile. Scared the fuck out of me, dude. And after that, I was like, yeah, I ain't doing this anymore. So I don't drive. I mean, I'll have like a Mexican restaurant. I'll have a Corona and shit. Go to B-dubs, have a Corona.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, like I have some whiskey that I'll sip on, but I don't fucking drink.
Dude, I don't drink.
All.
I had to stop, dude. I ended up in the fucking loony bin, bro. I ended up in the loony bin at the VA, and like I was like, man, after fucking like basically almost a week there, it was like 4 or 5 days. I basically told myself, I'm like, I'm pretty much done, like with alcohol.
Yeah.
Like just all together, and then it stopped, and then I picked it up, I think, one more time after that. After I told myself I wasn't going to, I did it anyways, and that's the night that I was like, almost got a fucking DUI.
Yeah.
And I was like they were like very, very close to each other. They were within, I think, like a week or two of each other, of like me going into the loony bin for like 4 days for not Christmas, for fucking Easter and my dad's birthday, which sucked ass.
Yeah.
And luckily, I mean, I got my own fucking room. I mean, that was the upside to it. But you don't sleep there. You don't fucking sleep because they have, yeah, they fucking come in, they check on your ass, like, dude, like every fucking like 30 minutes, and the lights are almost always on because they want the fucking lights. And like taking a shower, dude, absolutely fucking sucks because this isn't Baltimore too, so like the Baltimore VA is not exactly anything about Baltimore is just pretty shitty.
Yeah.
And so like the fucking showers and everything are old as fuck, so like the water, there's really no water pressure. And then the towels they give you are like hand-sized towels because they don't want you fucking like hanging yourself and shit with them. So like dude, it sucked. The whole experience was just horrible, and I regretted checking myself in pretty much.
Like make you want to kill yourself going through that shit.
Dude, I told him that. I literally told him that. I was like, I was considering it prior to coming here. Now I think I'm pretty much made my mind up. Like, like it was so fucking so bad. And then you have like one common room and the TV. Luckily, dude, I think it was, if I went to any other loony bin, like with just normal civilians, I think I was like, I don't know what I would have done. But when you're with veterans, when you're in the VA one,
yeah,
it's so different because everyone just kind of understands each other. Like everyone understands that they're vulnerable at that moment.
Yeah.
And it's very, and you could tell like a lot of them are just like really really like sick, and you're just like, okay, like these some of these people are just really really sick, and you're not, you're never 100% sure whether it's like if it's actually like service related or prior.
Yeah.
A lot of them you could tell it was definitely something that like was prior to service, and like nobody caught it while they were in a service, or they did and they got kicked out or something. Like there's some, there's every sort of like scenario there, but look, to like see it firsthand and to be around like other vets, like we just kind of had an understanding, like, okay, like we understood like the steps that had to occur prior to us coming here.
Yeah.
Like it was a very common path, I felt like, whether it was like drugs or alcohol or just, just bad thoughts, and that was a very eye-opening experience, because I'm like, it kind of put it in perspective for me, because I was like, now I know like how bad it needs to be for me in order like for me to be like, hey, I need to go there, because
Yeah.
like it's definitely something I'd never want to re-experience, like experience ever again, because of the fact like it just, the whole experience sucked and the food was awful. And
I had a friend that went to one of those around
yeah,
here, and he said that it was fucking like horrible, that you could get like, butt ass naked in front of the guy when you first came in. They're like staring at you like, yeah, fucking take
yeah,
it off. Like he's
yeah,
like, man, I ain't ever doing that shit again. He's like, come pick me up. I'm scared.
yeah, dude. I was and they had to wait for my blood alcohol like level to go
Oh
down.
yeah.
So I checked in, dude, and I was fucking tanked. And dude, they had to wait. It was like fucking, it was like 18 hours, dude. It was some crazy amount of time where they're like, you need some fucking counseling, basically. Like you need like some kind of alcoholic something.
Yeah.
Because like there's no way like we had to wait this long for your blood alcohol like level to drop. Like that just shows how much you drank, pretty much. So they just put me in this tiny little room on this fucking recliner that I had to like sleep it off basically, or try to, for like 18 hours, like no food, no anything. It fucking
No,
sucked.
nothing. That's
They tried
bullshit.
they would be like, oh, I'm gonna go get you food, and like the nurse would leave and like not come back. And
Bring back crackers for you. Here you
yeah,
go.
like nothing, absolutely nothing. So like that was this, just the whole VA experience was like, I could see why people have a problem with this place. Like this place sucks.
Yeah.
Absolutely sucks.
Yeah, the VA
Everything was.
is dog shit, man. I
Mhm.
fucking made a fucking mental health appointment a while
Yeah.
back, and they called me. And they're like, "Yeah, we're canceling this shit." I was like, "All right, can I get another appointment?" And they're like, "Yeah, we'll call you back later." And like, they didn't call me for like a week, and they're like, "Hey, come in like 2 weeks." I was like, a month later. That's fucking awesome.
Dude, that's so fucked up, bro. They did it.
That's whatever.
They hooked me up with a company that's like really big in Maryland. When I first got out and I requested to start seeing like a counselor through the VA, um, and it took, dude, it took like 2 months before I
Yeah,
heard back, and then I had my intake. So I did my intake with them, and then they're like, yeah, there's no guarantee like a therapist is gonna pick you up anytime soon. Like the wait time right now is like 6 months.
damn.
I'm like, if you guys make me wait 6 months, like I probably will kill myself. Like there's no way like you can just do that to somebody. And
Yeah,
I kept reaching out to the VA, kept reaching out to the VA, nada, 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 nada. Always get like send me, oh, let me transfer you to here. And then this person's like, well, that person shouldn't have transferred you. Let me transfer you back. And then they're transferring you again. It's just like a whole fucking roundabout of bullshit. And it wasn't until like I spoke to someone and they were like, well, talk to so and so, she's your case manager. And I was like, I have a case manager? Like, no, like out of all the fucking times I try to call you guys and get information, like nobody decided to disclose the fact that I have someone that's supposed to personally help me get like a therapist or whatever help I
yeah,
need. And then I called her, and then she like, first and last time I ever spoke to her, mind you, called her, and she was like, oh my God, like, how long have you been waiting? I was like, it's been like almost fucking 3 months. And she's like, that's so fucking unacceptable. Like, blah, blah. She hooked me up with the therapist that I have now. And she's like, yeah, she's like, we never really, she's like, we use this guy sometimes. We keep him in our back pocket. He's really fucking great with vets, like all this shit. And I was like, okay, fine. I was like, I'll take anything at this fucking point. Like, and so yeah, she hooked me up with them. And then I kept trying to get a hold of her for something, and um and I that's the last time I ever heard her. Her voicemail box is full, so you can't like leave messages or whatever, and like have her call you back or anything. Like I don't have an email, so it's all like the first and last time I spoke to her was that was that one time like over a year ago.
See, I called Ann Arbor, and like it just rang and rang and rang with a voicemail. And I like left a voicemail. I was like, hey, like it's my number. I want to talk to somebody, and like nothing. It's like a week later, call back again. Same thing, a voicemail again. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I call back like 2 days after that, and somebody picks up like, hello. And I was like, hello, and like Ann Arbor VA clinic. How can I help you? And I was like, I went on my conversation. Then they're like, all right. They gave me a number to like transfer me to and shit. And then I had to leave a voicemail there.
Oh
Wait a
my
week to get a call
god.
back again. I got my appointment a month out from that. So now I'm like 2 months in this process right now. And
Yeah.
then they scheduled my appointment a week out from that. They cancel on me. And another 3 weeks. I'm at 3 months right now about fucking trying to get this shit done.
God
So it's a
damn,
fucking
dude.
process here.
Dude, it really fucking is, man. And it's shitty, dude, because that's the one thing that a lot of my like guys that we serve with whenever we're talking about like how difficult the transition is. That's like the one thing I do recommend. I'm like, dude, like talk therapy, bro. Like I definitely like fucking recommend that.
Yeah.
And I was a guy that was like very anti therapy, very anti medication. I was like, nah. I
Yeah.
was part of that, I guess you can say, like toxic masculinity that went on when it regarded that. I was like, I don't fucking need that. Like, I'm not that guy. Like, I
That's the
won't
whole
ever.
fucking mental attitude that you get given to you in the
Yeah,
Marine Corps. You can't fucking say shit. You
exactly.
can't be a bitch. Shut up. Like keep going.
Exactly. It took First Sergeant Moon and it took Doc Molina. Those were the two that really like got through to me where, Doc Molina, he would never give me any advice or any like suggestions unless he knew it was going to help me.
Yeah.
Like he's that's just the kind of guy he is. Like he's always constantly like trying to help other people, which is why he's one of the greatest corpsmen I think I ever had. And it really happened when I was getting like really bad nightmares after I got the shit kicked out of me in Australia. And I was just like, dude, I can't fuck it. And it got to the point where I was like, I can't sleep because I'm constantly like waking up because these nightmares.
Yeah.
And then that's when he first got me into it. And I saw someone for like a little bit while in the Marines. And then um like after the whole thing with Jaeger that happened, me living with him and him committing suicide, and all that stuff, like that's when First Sergeant Moon was just like, he's like, we need to get you like somebody, like this is not okay, like the
Yeah.
things that you've seen are like just stuff that you're not supposed to see basically, and like you need to go see someone. I recommend that you see someone, so to have someone who as well traveled, as well distinguished in the Marine
He was
Corps.
a great leader too.
Yeah, and
I knew him pretty well.
exactly, and and to have him kind of like in my corner, being like, hey, like coming from me, like this is, and from a friend standpoint, because like all ranks aside, like a lot about our relationship was very unorthodox in the Marine Corps. You know, we shouldn't have been as close as we were, because of our rank difference, but from a friend standpoint, like he basically like recommended it to me. And yeah, dude, I didn't, and that was the first kind of like my first thing that I wanted to accomplish when I got out, was to get that done, to make
Yeah.
sure that I had someone to talk to. Because at first, I think a lot of our peers, majority of them got out like almost close to a year before I got out. So like I had guys like Monty and Denny
Yeah.
and Morrison and Jareth and Arco, a lot of those guys that they've been around, done it, and they've been out for almost a year now. And I talk to them all the time, and they're like, dude, like it's the first year is kind of like a blur, and it kind of sucks a lot. And then like once you hit that year mark, you're really gonna start missing your boys. And
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, nah, maybe not. And then like, yeah, dude, I remember when the first couple weeks I was on the phone with Morrison, like bawling my eyes out, bro. Bawling my eyes out. I called him. Like, I was like, dude, like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, man. I have no idea. Like, if I'm doing it wrong, if I'm doing it correctly. Like, it just feels something just feels really, really hard right now. Like, I just
Yeah.
feel like a what is it, like a square peg in a fucking round hole or whatever. Like it just didn't something just wasn't vibing. Did you feel like the same way?
Dude, Easley and Gleason probably got more calls from me than like I can fucking remember, dude. Like
Really?
all dude, I gotta fucking give it to them, man. They like helped me out a lot, like a lot when I first got out. I struggled a lot when I first got out because I moved from Hawaii to Jackson, Michigan,
Yeah.
where I have nobody, like no friends, no family around for. I mean, unless I want to drive,
A
over
couple
an
hours,
hour.
you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like decent, So during the week, I'm just by myself. Well, actually, at that point, it was 2 hours away. I was living in Eaton Rapids when I first got out,
Hmm.
so I was 2 hours from anybody I knew, and like new place and stuff. COVID happened, lockdown, so like I couldn't even like go to the gym, couldn't do anything when I first got out. I was like from work with
Yep.
like 9 people because like everybody got like obviously sent home because they were essential, and I was an essential with 9 people. So yeah, I went through like a hard transition. That's when I started like drinking a lot, stuff like that. Easily like a 12 pack a night, like nothing.
Yeah.
And it took a while to get out of that slump, and a lot of calls, a lot of friends and stuff, a lot of talking out. That's one thing that helped me
Yeah.
out too, was just talking about it and
So
stuff.
besides like the phone calls, to some of our guys, what else like helped you? Like what else did you rely on to kind of help you like pull you out of that strut?
Well, this right here is a big reason
Yeah,
I'm still here. Like, hey,
I
like
concur, doctor.
when, when I'm down and I'm out, like, and
Yeah.
I can need something like take my anxiety away and stuff like that. Like, it's a miracle shit.
Hmm.
But man, like I had nothing, dude. Like there was nothing really. I had nothing. The only thing that made me happy was like going home and seeing my family. That's why it was so hard for me. So like obviously I couldn't like do a lot of travel and stuff when COVID first happened. I didn't like go down to see my grandparents and stuff like that, and like get them sick. If my friends were busy and shit, like I was just by myself, like nobody, like nothing make me happy. So it fucking sucked. I ended up buying a boat over the
Yeah,
summer,
I
and
remember
I just
that.
like yeah, I just like redid the entire interior of the boat over the
Yeah.
summer because I had literally nothing to fucking do with my life. So, but when I moved to Jackson, I started going to the gym, back to the gym and stuff like that, getting like making goals stuff, working on my house and doing that shit. That's what like helped me stay more positive
Yeah.
and then down in the dumps negative, give me something to look forward to now, building my life and shit.
Yeah.
So what else did you do?
For me, it was at first, I mean, I was in a group chat with a lot of my seniors, so that kind of helped me out first, like just kind of having that familiarity. But dude, it was rough, bro. That first year, probably one of the roughest years of my life.
Yeah.
Um, like because I totally did not expect it to be as hard as it was. I think a lot of it came from like me having like I kind of like an ego, like approaching it, being like, oh, like the transition process, like, and like how hard could that fucking possibly
Yeah.
be, like, and and I thought I also had a leg up because I think you and I both thought we kind of sort of had like a leg up because of the fact that
The
we didn't
terminal.
live, yeah, terminal, and we didn't live on base
Yeah.
for a while. We didn't live on base. Like basically, when we weren't at work, we were like fucking full blown civilians,
Yeah.
which I thought would be some sort of advantage going into like going into terminal and in my first year of being out. And then when I realized that it was a lot tougher than that, it was like the pressure of that, and then the pressure of like the unexpected like difficulty that I was
Yeah.
now like facing. And so we lost Jaeger very shortly after we got back of our second deployment. And that hit me like very, very hard because I was living with him at the time and I was the one that found him. So I took it really very, very personally. So I was dealing with that. And then it's not so long after that it felt like for the first year of us being out that like 3-3 was just losing guys left and right.
It was like every few months. It felt like.
Yeah, I felt like, and it's so fucking crazy because, first it was Jaeger before I got out, and that really hurt, and it still hurts to this day. That whole thing, and then to go into having like someone else. I had someone from like I mentioned previously, my boot camp platoon. His name was Ian, and he got out around the same time as us, and like a lot of the guys, because my boot camp platoon kept like a Facebook page where we would like talk to each other and try to keep up like as best as we could, like with our lifestyle stuff. And Ian was the one that really like kind of fanned those flames a lot. He would post on it, I think, the more out of anyone else, and really like take a genuine interest in like other people. And then him and I talked like less than a month prior to him fucking killing himself too. So that kind of sucked also. And then it was Mooj, and that one hit me very, very hard because he was literally one of the last people I saw in 3-3. And we sat there, and I was wrapping up whatever I had to do at BAS, and so he sat right next to me, and we just fucking shot this shit for like an hour and a half, dude. And then we exchanged numbers, and he was getting out too. So we were supposed to hit up each other, and I like totally drew a blank the fact that I was thinking about him, and I was like, I was like, I never like, I don't think I ever texted Mooj, and I felt so bad because I never reached out to him because I totally forgot that I had his number to begin with. So that kind of sucked. And Mooj, and then it was Soulman, dude. Oh my God.
Yeah, Solomon, that one sucked because like he was one of the last people I remember like partying with out in
Yeah,
Honolulu and Waikiki and shit.
bro.
Like,
Yeah, him and I grew so
yeah,
close on my first deployment. And and my buddy River was the one that basically introduced me to him, because he was a Sacco at the time. And that one was, on top of like that was like 4 already, like within a year. And
yeah,
there's others in there as well. And the crazy thing, the one about Robin, was the fact that like I was on vacation in Virginia Beach, and Carolyn wakes up in the middle of the night, and she's like in a panic, and she's like shoving me, and she's like, something's wrong, like something's wrong, like something is wrong with you. And I'm like, nothing is wrong with me, like I'm fine. And then I woke up, and like we went back to sleep, woke up the next morning, or the same morning, like just only a couple hours later, and I'm like, the first thing I see on Facebook was like, this Solman fucking killed himself. And I was like, oh my God, dude, like it just piling on the whole thing. So I had to
yeah.
deal with the pressure of like you said, we were in the same boat where we got out, and then COVID fucking hit like almost right away. So we really didn't have any like normal, entry back into the civilian world.
We still haven't yet.
Yeah, still haven't really. So we got out, fucking COVID hits. I'm having to worry about, now having to find a job when there's no
Yeah,
jobs. And now I'm like, okay, I need to go to fucking school. Like, how do I even do that? How do I even use the GI Bill? Like,
yeah,
what? Like, I went to fucking TRS, but like, you're allowed to take that shit like 11 months prior to you getting out. And I took it when I had like fucking 10 months left. And I was like, so I didn't remember shit by the time I got out. And I took copious notes, and they still weren't like great, they didn't really help me out a whole lot. So school, finding a job, all that shit, losing so many guys in a very short period of time that you felt like you were very like bonded to, or like
yeah,
close to, and which is why I drank the way I drank. And that's why it got me into the trouble it fucking got me in. Luckily, like no legal trouble or anything, but like, mentally and stuff. So like what really helped pull me from literally the darkest of days was, one, like really giving a shit about myself again, I think is the biggest thing. Cause like I got out, COVID hit, I was like, I'm allowed to eat whatever I want. I started smoking weed a lot more, which means I started eating shittier.
Yeah.
And like I fucking put on, dude, I put on like 30-40 pounds, bro. I was like 240 almost, like it was 230,
Damn.
235.
I remember seeing a picture of you. I was like,
Yeah.
Mas, my man.
Yeah, I really like I got the COVID 15, I got the freshman 15. Like it was real, bro, because all the gyms were closed, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then it's only when I stopped drinking and like exercised, regularly, I fucking lost all that weight. But um yeah, so I like would look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, what the fuck? I grew my beard out pretty long, my hair out pretty long
Yeah. I
because
remember
all
that.
the barber shops and shit were closed. And I'm just like, I look fucking horrible. Like, I had no self-esteem. And so like I just really started thinking to myself, like, I just need to start giving a shit about
Yeah.
myself. Like just start caring about
Yeah.
like how, because my body starts hurting, from stuff that I had, like injuries that I had in the Marines. And, and I'm fucking either drinking it away or I'm just eating to feel better. And I was like, I can't, do that shit anymore.
That
So,
that same exact thing happened to me. That's why like what got me out of my slump, like further down the road,
mhm.
was definitely 75 hard. And what
Yeah,
even motivated me to do that was I seen Sheehan posted before and after of him. And it was like normal Sheehan, and he was like just fucking cut up. And I was like, fuck, man.
damn.
I remember looking at myself in the
And he
mirror and
was
I was
always a
like,
pretty stocky dude
oh
too.
yeah, he was shredded in this
Yeah.
photo of him after his 75 hard. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I'm starting tomorrow. And like I texted Sheehan, I asked about it, and I was like, all right, I'm starting tomorrow. I started on a Sunday morning. I fucking woke up, fucking
The
ran in the
Lord's Day.
morning, dude. I fucking put in work, and I just like that like changed my whole attitude. And then definitely recommend if anybody hasn't read it yet to read this fucking book, because like I was in a slump, like feeling so sorry for myself,
Yeah.
like oh like I get like that, like pity me, like
Yep.
to myself, and then that like really got me out. I was like, quit being a fucking bitch, dude. Like
Yeah.
obviously, like quit being a fucking bitch.
Yeah,
Like
we
make
have the
yourself better.
power. We have the power within ourselves. And I think it takes, it's such a culture shock. You think that you weren't as institutionalized until you get out and you realized no
Yeah,
one's telling me what color socks I have to wear just to go on a run. Like, you have that freedom. You have that freedom again. And you almost are reluctant to take it. Because you're like, if I take too much of this freedom, like I feel like I wouldn't have taken anything from the Marines. If I just resort right back to who I was prior to my service, what's the whole point of being in to begin with?
I would say that in the Marine Corps, like you hold yourself to certain standards
Yeah.
there in the Marine Corps. When you get out, it's hard to not hold them standards to yourself continually, and then it's hard, I think, to not see other people hold themselves to basic standards
Yeah.
when you get out.
Yeah.
Like these people just being like blatantly lazy or like
Yeah.
blatantly like fucking just being like pieces of shit. And you're like what the fuck, dude? Like you just like rip their fucking ass, but you can't. It doesn't
Yeah.
work like that
Yeah. Like
anymore.
dude, working with other people, dude, is so fucking hard, man. So
Yeah,
fucking hard working with people who aren't veterans. Cause like, bro, like what the fuck are you doing? It's just like, what made you think that was okay? Or like, what makes you think that this is okay? It's like things where you're like, you have such a high standard of like, and I do not only work at fucking GameStop, bro. I work at GameStop. It's a part-time gig. Like, it's a pretty simple fucking job.
yeah,
Actually, it can be pretty complex because we have to do the job of like five different jobs into one. And that kind of sucks. But at the same time, it's like, one, at least take pride in what you do.
yeah,
So that's one thing that, because they always said embrace the suck in the Marines. And you almost took pride in having to do the shitty things. Like,
yeah,
that's why they said it's always, everyone wants to be a grunt until it's time to do grunt things. 100% right. Everyone wants the fucking cool moto photos, like going out, taking pictures and all this shit, doing like this, gnarly ass 0311 bullshit, right? But what they don't see, so when these motherfuckers are sitting on the couch watching,
mhm,
Thursday night football, and one of those Marines commercials come on, like recruiting commercials, and it's the fucking people running out of the back of a fucking V-22 like Osprey, like, we run towards the danger, like
yeah.
bullshit
Well,
ad. What they don't fucking show is the
sitting in the fucking rain.
Well, yeah, so they don't show the 03:30 fucking wake up to go to the armory to sit there for 6 hours. They don't see the fucking get to the tarmac by a certain time only to
And
wait.
lay on a motherfucker.
Yeah, and only for it to be delayed for some fucking malfunction, some kind of
Motherfuckers
thing
having
that's
heat
wrong with
strokes
it.
and shit.
What they don't show you is cramming all those motherfuckers,
Onto a
like
CH-53.
yeah,
They're called. Wait, 53. They're called
on a fucking 53 or a 20,
Osprey.
yeah, or an Osprey, and like they don't see they don't smell the fucking hydraulic fuel that's dripping on you, and
The exhaust you're
they can't
breathing
yeah,
in.
in the exhaust they can't hear the fucking deafening noises inside those aircraft. All they
They'll shit
see,
themselves when the Osprey drops 100 feet.
yeah, all these see are these motherfuckers running out the back of this thing, running towards the danger, and
Just Blues.
it's like because we have to do those things, you take pride in it. It's
Yeah.
almost like because you have to embrace that kind of suck, you like take pride in like I fucking did that.
And you also enjoyed it too, because like
You enjoy it,
I
yeah,
was hunting it like 2 or 3 days ago. The last gun day of Ohio Sunday,
yeah,
and I was setting out in this fucking like behind these trees with just like logs stacked up around me for a little like man-made blind, and it was pouring fucking rain, dude. I was sitting there soaking with my rifle. I'm like, well, this is familiar fucking setting for me
yeah,
in the pouring rain with a fucking gun in my hand, like not doing a goddamn thing.
yeah,
So
exactly, yeah,
brought back some
dude,
memories.
yeah, man. And so when the going gets tough, you know, like I see these coworkers that I have, and I'm like, y'all are fucking weak, man. Just absolutely weak. Like, and like I'm not in like a I don't like I'm not
They're
approaching
gonna
it in
hear
a
this shit
sense
and
of
be
like,
like,
yeah,
"Ugh."
I'm not approaching it in the sense of like I'm better than you.
Yeah,
I'm approaching it in the sense of like I know that there's better in you. Like I'm not better than you. I just know that there's so much
weak-minded.
yeah, there's so much metal and there's so much grit inside of you that you don't even know about that it's so frustrating to watch you not tap into it.
That's
That's
one
that's
thing
that's the
that the
one
Marine
thing
Corps
that
did
gets
give you,
me. Yeah.
like going on those long ass fucking runs, like ruck runs and shit, where your body feels like your lungs are about to fucking explode, but you like just keep going. You're like, how the fuck am I still running right now? But
Yeah.
you can't fall out because you can't be a fucking bitch.
Yep, exactly. And
Also, shitty at running, so
you can't really teach it. You can't teach it. It has to be you have to be pushed.
yeah,
You have to be pushed. And a lot of people are very comfortable. A lot of people are very content. They don't like being pushed. And so they are never able to unlock that true potential that they have. And so that's why I find it, like I was saying, like so frustrating to work with other people, especially if they haven't served, because you see people give up on themselves like so soon,
yeah,
and they give up on like everything so quickly, and you're just like, like come on, like, and I try to give like that positive push, dude. I literally, I really do, like at work, like I try to like nudge people in the right direction,
yeah,
because I work there also, and I'm not going to have you basically shit on my name like when I'm not there. Like
yeah,
this, like you represent like me in a sense. And I did that, dude. I called out my fucking assistant manager, bro. He quit. He fucking quit. I called his ass out. I fucking called out other people that I worked with, like just straight up, like called them the fuck out. I'm like, you need to get your
yeah,
shit together. Like I'm done picking up everyone's fucking slack. Like I'm done. And my assistant manager had a customer service problem. Like he just couldn't treat customers like decent human beings. He had to
yeah,
treat them like shit. So I'm like, dude, like you need to stop treating people this way. Like it's totally fucking unsat. And like, and I'm like, and he's a veteran. So it's like, I'm like, bro, and he's like the worst example of a veteran like I've ever fucking met in my life. But it came down to like, I'm like, dude, like you're totally fucking out of line. And correction knows no rank. So like
yeah,
I'm like, I'm dude, I only work here part-time. You're fucking full-time. And like, it's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing with your life? Like you should hold yourself to a standard that is higher than your civilian peers.
yeah.
And you should do anything possible to try to exercise that, and to live out that full like potential. And a lot of people don't, and that's so fucking frustrating. But I'll step down from my soapbox.
I think, yeah, like I started being more open with my friends and shit too when I got out. Like now, like if something like is bothering me, like I don't agree with something they're doing, like I just say it like point blank, don't fucking hold back. And
Yeah.
I mean, I have a friend group that I've had for like 10 fucking years, and like now, like that we're at this point, like mature wise and shit. It's really cool to like have that. And I'd be able to go to them for advice too, and then not just like take your side just because
Yeah.
like but then like give you like factual fucking shit and stuff, and be more mature like that. So I think getting out like me, like pushing them, then pushing me, be fucking better fucking people.
Yeah.
Fucking works. Yeah.
Yeah. I think everyone kind of sees like, I hopefully, they see kind of like I wouldn't say like a flip, but like just kind of like a change in their friend groups, in which it's not about going out and getting fucked up and doing all this shit again. It's almost like, hey, like let's help each other be better humans.
Yeah.
Like that's what a very healthy, I guess, like friend group kind of looks like. And I think that's very, very important to have. And I
Yeah.
was kind of, like this is where something else I can empathize with you with is the fact that like you moved to Jackson, you didn't fucking have anybody, dude. I moved to Maryland and I didn't fucking have anybody either, man. Like I never lived in Maryland ever again. The only person I knew here was my girlfriend, and that was it. And like her friends, basically, I had to like try to make her friends my friends, and
Yeah.
so and like I didn't really have, and because of COVID, didn't really have any experiences whatsoever of like meeting new people because you couldn't go anywhere and you can't
Yeah.
do anything. So like I can definitely empathize with you
That's why I
there.
just Snapchatted you a fuck ton when I first got outside. I was like only just Snapchat my Marine Corps buddies after that, like, all the
Yeah,
time. Like,
dude,
what you
and
guys
that's
doing?
all.
What's
Yeah,
up?
until I found, I mean, uh, luckily, like I found one of my friends here who I'm really, really close with, and like because of that, it's kind of like opened up, other friends of his friends and all this
Yeah.
stuff. So, I mean, that's worked out. But like, fuck, it took forever for that to happen, dude. Like, didn't really have anybody. It was
Yeah.
me and Carolyn and my dog. And I mean, my dog and I spent fucking, every waking hour together for almost a whole year.
Hell yeah. All right, man. I think I gotta hop off here now.
All right.
I gotta
Yeah.
get up
Well,
in like 6 hours.
yeah, sure. We'll wrap it up. I'll do
All
the
right, brother.
all
Outro. All right.
right. 3, 2, 1. I'm actually reading the intro. That's how high I am.
You gotta keep that part.
Yeah, tonight was a two joiner. I think I'm gonna cut myself off at 1.
Yeah.
Well, here we are. You stuck with us all the way to the end. We thank you for listening. We want our listeners to know that if your pack becomes too heavy, don't drop it. The Veterans Crisis Hotline can be reached at 1-800-273-8255. If you'd like to enjoy more content, don't forget to subscribe, Semper Fi, and keep rolling on.